How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Prab, and in today's video we're taking a look at the 7Artisans 50mm f1.1 lens for full-frame Leica and Sony cameras. I'm going to be testing this lens on my full-frame Sony A7 Mark III by using a Leica M to Sony E mount adapter. Now this 50mm lens is a very unique / weird lens in the sense that it's the only 50mm full-frame lens with such a wide aperture of f1.1 that costs well under $500 US. Now I know some of you out there might not consider this lens as a budget offering, but considering the price of other 50mm lenses with similar apertures, this lens is priced reasonably well. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how this lens performs, and we're going to see if it's any good at its maximum wide aperture of f1.1. So with that being said, let's get started. So the 7Artisans 50mm comes nicely packaged in this box, which includes a focus tab that you can attach to the focus barrel. I'm currently not using it, but it is there if you wish to use one. Other than that, it comes with a small screwdriver to make focus adjustments if you're using this lens with a rangefinder camera. The lens itself is securely placed inside the box, and it comes with both the front and rear lens caps. Now the front lens cap is made of metal and slides very smoothly onto the lens. Regarding build quality, the lens is made of very high quality materials and feels really premium in the hand. Now this is by no means a lightweight lens, and that's because the lens itself is made of metal and packs a lot of glass elements to provide that fast aperture. Optically, this lens consists of 7 elements in 6 groups and is based on the sonar formula. Inside the lens, it consists of 13 aperture blades, which are controlled by a clickless aperture ring, which goes from f1.1 to all the way down to f16. Being clickless, it allows for very smooth aperture adjustments. As you can see here, I go from f16 to f1.1 and back again to f16. I personally would have preferred a clicked aperture ring, as I see this lens more focused toward photographers rather than video makers. Moving on to the focusing mechanism, the focus ring on this lens is also very smooth with hard stops on both ends. It has a focus throw of roughly 90 degrees and is well damped in my opinion. Now shooting at f1.1, it's a little hard to nail focus, especially if you're shooting handheld, as a very slight movement of yours or your subjects could cause out of focus images. Alright, so now that we have covered the physical characters of this lens, let's talk about how this lens actually performs. Most of these images that you're seeing were shot at the widest aperture of f1.1, and they have a very unique look to them. Let's start off with the sharpness. At f1.1, in the center of the frame, the lens is a little soft with heavy vignetting around the corners. There is chromatic aberration around contrasty edges, with purple fringing being apparent in this case. At f1.1, I found the lens to have low contrast, and also there is some haziness around contrasty edges. As you stop down the lens to f1.4, the sharpness in the center improves and the effects of vignetting also decrease down. Stopping the lens further down to f2 improves the center sharpness greatly. Here is the image at f2 compared to f1.1, and you can see the image at f1 looks more dreamy, whereas f2 looks very sharp. Stopping the lens further down to f2.8 provides with an increase in sharpness in the center. At this aperture, the lens is extremely sharp in the center with a very slight vignette around the corner. Moving on to f4, f5.6, and f8, the lens performs consistently in terms of sharpness. Even at f16, I found the lens to be decently sharp, which is a great news for street shooters who like to zone focus, as you can get a deeper depth of field while still getting reasonably sharp results. Now let's talk about the bokeh that this lens can deliver. At f1.1, the lens has a very shallow depth of field, which delivers images with a very dreamy look to them. The bokeh at f1.1 also has a very unique and distinct look to it, and it also exhibits that swirly bokeh effect, which a lot of people, including me, find quite pleasing. The bokeh balls at f1.1 have an outer ring of glow to them, which is not something you see normally, and also, as you move away from the center of the frame towards the edges, the bokeh starts to get a little stretched towards the center. Here as an example, you can see in the center of the image, the bokeh is nice and round, but as you move towards the edges, you can see this distortion in the shape of the bokeh balls. As you stop down the lens to f1.4, the bokeh character of the lens changes quite drastically. At this aperture, the stretching of the bokeh ball is reduced quite significantly, and the bokeh doesn't feel as busy compared to f1.1. Also, because of having 13 aperture blades, the lens maintains to keep the bokeh balls circular even while being stopped down. Now let's talk about lens flares. Well, at f1.1 the lens flares quite easily, which is understandable considering that the lens has such a big front element and does not come with a lens hood provided. Here, as you can see in the video example, you see a big circular flare at f1.1, which can be both desirable or undesirable depending on your personal preferences. If you're someone who doesn't like them, you can simply stop down to f1.4 and the strong flares disappear, leaving you with a cleaner image. Something interesting that I would like to mention about this lens is that it exhibits field curvature, which I noticeably saw at wider apertures of f1.1. Now what this means is that the focus plane of the lens is not a straight line, but rather it has a curve to it towards the left and right edges. You can see this effect prominently in this image where technically only I should be in focus, but rather if you notice towards the edges, they are somewhat in focus as well. So what are my overall thoughts on this lens? Well, I feel like this lens has sort of best of both worlds in the sense that if you want dreamy images with a very shallow depth of field, you can use it at its widest aperture, but instead if you want tack sharp images without any prominent flares or character, you can simply stop it down to get your desired result. Now this is not a lens that I can recommend to everyone. Yes, there are other 50mm out there that cost way less and can deliver way sharper image quality, but considering the lenses that this lens is trying to compete with, it does a fantastic job in terms of build quality, the character of images that it delivers, and the price point it's being offered at. So with that being said, this was my review of the 7Artisans 50mm f1.1 lens. Let me know what you guys think about this review in the comment section down below. If you have any questions, I'll be answering those in the comment section. If you like this video, consider hitting the like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.